downfall, Miami drops to 1-6 record in NFL.
No more Napier. The University of Florida fires their football head coach.
And it's off to the races, a piece on the F1 fandom here in Miami. All of this and more on the sideline. Hello South Florida and welcome to the Sideline, the place where you get all the highlights for your South Florida teams. I'm Sabrina Lozano.
And I'm Dylan Pizet, and the Sideline starts now. It was another flop for the Fish yesterday against the Cleveland Browns.
The Miami Dolphins were in the conversation for the win only until the second quarter, where the Browns made 2 touchdowns and the Dolphins scored their only points all game with 2 field goals. The Dolphins could not stop the Browns offense as they scored in both the third and fourth quarter. A final score of Dolphins 6, Browns 31 tells you all you need to know about this game.
All good things must come to an end, and it looks like the University of Miami's undefeated streak has been broken. The Hard Rock Stadium hosted the game that ended with a 24-21 loss to the Louisville Cardinals. The Hurricanes were challenged from the start, scoring 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. While Miami was still able to answer back with 1 touchdown, it was ultimately the Cardinals who took it home.
The Florida Gators have fired their head coach Billy Napier after a rocky 3-4 start to the 2025 season. The move comes after growing frustration over the Gators' struggles under Napier, who went 22-23 in 4 years. During this time, Florida won just 5 of 22 games against ranked opponents and failed to win any of their 14 road games. Athletic Director Scott Strickling said the decision was about moving the program forward. Receivers coach Billy Gonzalez will serve as interim head coach for the rest of the season.
A tough night for the Panthers up in Buffalo as the Sabres handed Florida a 3-0 loss. Buffalo's Josh Doan scored twice on the power play, and Owen Power added another, while Alex Leon shut the door with 32 saves. The Panthers couldn't find the back of the net, and frustrations boiled over in the second period when Brad Marchand and Rasmus Dahlin got tangled up. Marchand took a penalty and Dahlin's helmet, with him tearing it apart in the box. As we know, the Ice Cats were already shorthanded with Matthew Tkachuk and Alexander Barkov out, so this definitely took a hit. But Florida wraps up his road trip Tuesday against a Boston team riding a losing streak, a prime chance to bounce back.
Inter Miami closed out the regular season with a statement win on the road. Lionel Messi scored a hat trick in a 5-2 comeback win over Nashville on MLS Decision Day. After falling behind 2-1 at halftime, Miami responded with a dominant second half. Goals from Ballester Rodriguez and Telasco Segovia scored Inter Miami 3rd place in the Eastern Conference and plenty of momentum heading into the playoffs.
It was just another day in the office for the Miami Heat on Friday as they have officially lost every preseason game, this time against the Memphis Grizzlies. The Heat looked set in the second quarter with a 10-point lead, but as the game progressed, so did the Grizzlies' offense. The Heat barely had the lead at the start of the fourth quarter and were down by 16 at the end, leading to a final score of Heat 125, Grizzlies 141. The Heat will start their season Wednesday against the Orlando Magic at 7 p.m. Formula One was stateside this weekend for their annual U.S. Grand Prix in Austin, Texas.
Sideline's Raquel Kurt joined F1 fans in Wynwood for a race yesterday.
Formula One fans are finally able to turn off their alarms this weekend as the pinnacle of motorsport arrives to Austin, Texas in the Circuit of Americas, making for Miami locals an only 1-hour time difference versus the usual 10 to 12-hour time difference. Here in Wynwood at the Grail Sports Bar, fans gather to watch all the action on track.
Since opening its circuit in 2012, Austin, Texas has become home to the U.S. Grand Prix. With Formula One's rapid growth in America, 2 more U.S. circuits have joined the calendar since 2022, making it much easier than ever for fans to experience the thrill of high-speed racing in person.
I don't feel like Miami has enough of those compared to other places that I've been, that I'm always looking for a watch party. Unfortunately, F1 and our time zone are usually very early, so we're normally watching them at home. So when I noticed that there's one in the afternoon, I was like, okay, let me find a place that I can go and watch it with other F1 fans and enjoy the race.
Overcoming the challenge for American F1 market to have decent race hours, Miami is now no stranger to overtaking and DRS zones. The mix of speed, luxury, tech, and drama fits perfectly into South Florida's appetite for sporting spectacle.
Only 3 times during the F1 season can Formula One fans experience a race weekend on USA time zones. Today just shows that it is very rare but possible for all of them to come together. With a Max Verstappen win at the Austin Grand Prix, he is having history unfold in front of fans' eyes, being the first in the 75 years of F1 history to be this deep into the season and closing the gap in the Drivers' Championship points, leaving all of the McLaren fans with a doubt and a sad feeling that the championship is slipping away. I'm Raquel Kurt reporting for Sideline.
Now it's time for our fan favorite segment, Biggest W and L's, where we go over our biggest wins and losses of the week. I'll start us off, Dylan. My biggest W of the week goes to Lionel Messi, who just made history by winning his first ever MLS Golden Boot and his 7th Golden Boot overall. The decision came after his standout performance on Saturday against Nashville, where he scored a hat trick to lock in the award. Messi finished the season with a league best 26 goals for Inter Miami and set a new MLS record with 9 multi-goal games in a single season. In total, he tallied 44 goal contributions. That's goals plus assists, the second most ever recorded in Major League Soccer, and that extends his record as the player with the most golden boots in football history. At 38 years old, Messi continues to dominate the game and prove that no matter where he plays, he's still rewriting the record books.
You know, I'm not a soccer guy, but I see these numbers and I can appreciate that Messi is definitely one of the best to ever do it in that sport. Now, coming into gear, my biggest W of the week is Max Verstappen's dominance in the Formula One race in Austin, Texas. Coming into the weekend, everyone was buzzing about the slim chance of Verstappen entering the title fight conversation. But after converting a pole to win in the sprint and another pole to win in the Grand Prix, the Dutch Messiah went from 63 points adrift to 40 points behind championship leader Oscar Piastri.
Dylan, no matter what happens, it's going to be a wild end to the season. So thank you. So now for my biggest L of the week, which goes to the Golden State Warriors for having to waive Seth Curry just after signing him. They announced the big deal early October, reuniting the Curry brothers, and then bam, he's waived before the season even starts. The twist, this wasn't even about his ability, it was about cash. The Warriors already had about $206.3 million committed, placing them just under the second salary tax apron of $207.8 million, and signing another veteran on the minimum would have pushed them into that hard cap zone. So they made the call to waive Seth for now. It's a move that reeks business over basketball. So yeah, the L is real. The Warriors had to let Seth go because of numbers, not performance, and fans were just left hanging.
You know, I hate to see numbers come before talent. It's a story we see time and time again throughout all of sports. But now we're going to switch back gears to Formula One. My biggest L has to be the performance of McLaren's Oscar Piastri at last weekend's U.S. Grand Prix. All season, Piastri has been touted as some unbreakable machine, but many forget this is only his 3rd year in the sport and his first competing for a title, and the cracks are starting to show. From a crash in Baku to getting pushed by his teammate in Singapore, now in Austin, Piastri makes a rookie mistake trying to switch back on his teammate into lap 1, turn 1 of the sprint, not realizing, hey, this is Austin turn 1, wide to tight. There were 2 more cars on his inside, leading to a double McLaren DNF in the sprint. Now the Grand Prix was not much better. He qualified an embarrassing 6th and finished in 5th. It seems that McLaren no longer has the rocket ship they had at the start of the year, and that many's title favorite is succumbing to the pressure.
Thank you, Dylan. Now we have to go to break, but stick around because here's what's next on the sideline. We bring back our NFL analysts to talk about the Miami Dolphins, performance, trade rumors, and more. Sideline will be back. We'll take a timeout and return after the break.
See us dream. See us remember. See us protest.
You matter. Your feelings matter. Your identity matters. Everything about who you are matters.
See us fight back. See us rebuild. See us shatter stereotypes. See us inspire. See us united. See us now.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
The Miami Dolphins have found themselves in deep water after a disastrous 1-6 start.
Yeah, and we're bringing in our sideline analyst, Alejandro Hernandez, for his take. Good morning, Alejandro.
Good morning, Dylan and Sabrina. Thank you guys for having me.
Now, Alejandro, tell us, why do you think the Dolphins are performing so poorly this season?
Well, I can trace Miami's downfall all the way back to Week 18 of 2023, a standalone Sunday night game against Josh Allen and the Bills for the division. The Dolphins went on to lose in typical fashion, with Tua throwing a game-losing interception, and instead of hosting a playoff game, they were humiliated by the Chiefs at Arrowhead in the wild card round. That was supposed to be the year for Miami to break through. General manager Chris Grier went all in, trading for Jalen Ramsey and Tyreek Hill, and signing Teron Armstead while Tua was still on his cheap rookie contract. Now they're paying the price. A weak roster with an expensive, injury-prone quarterback who can elevate the inferior talent around him.
Okay, Alejandro, so given everything we just said, what should the Dolphins do moving forward?
Well, I think they have to clean house with Tua, with McDaniel, and with Chris Grier. I think that obviously the Bills own Miami. Let's keep in mind that Tua is 1-9 head-to-head against Josh Allen, and now the Patriots have arrived with Drake May. The Dolphins need to rebuild their offensive line and defensive lines, as they rank 28th in rushing offense with 92.4 yards per game and last against the run, allowing a staggering 159.3 yards per game. They also need to hire a culture-setting head coach like a Mike Vrabel, like a Jim Harbaugh, like a Dan Campbell, and also they need to draft a quarterback who can compete with the talented quarterbacks in the division. This process could take up to 3 to 4 years, and that's contingent on whether they hire the right head coach and general manager and as well draft the right quarterback. But with the right leadership, hopefully Miami can return once again to contender status.
Hey, thank you so much, Alejandro, for your input on the Dolphins situation. Let's hope they can make some sort of comeback.
For sure, yeah.
And now it's time for this week's game picks.
Sideline's Laura Iglesias gives us her insights on what's to come.
First off, we have the Miami Dolphins versus the Atlanta Falcons, who are set to face off on October 26th. Honestly, any team going against the Dolphins this season isn't sweating too much. We've seen their track record, and yesterday afternoon was a hard watch against the Browns. That tells us what we can expect for this next game. Not to say that the Falcons are the best leading team, but they have had a much more active season, holding a record of 3-2. Looking at this, I am going to have to give my pick to the Falcons. There's no doubt that the Dolphins will remain a question mark. Now moving on to the basketball court, we have the Miami Heat versus the Orlando Magic. Now the Heat are going into this with star players Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier being injured from their preseason, already giving the Orlando Magic an advantage. The Magic didn't just show strong performances during the preseason, making this Wednesday night game an anticipated match. Although I am interested in seeing where this one goes, I'm taking the Heat, hoping they might surprise us all. Tomorrow night, a fire match is coming to the ice-cold rink, with the Panthers going face-to-face with the Boston Bruins. Now, this one might be a little bit tight, with the Bruins having home advantage and the Panthers looking to be a little bit out of sync. Coming off of the loss to the Buffalo Sabres, this game could possibly go either way. I'm taking the Bruins just as long as they use the advantage of the recent underperformances that the Panthers have been showing. Well, that's all for now from the control room. I'm Laura Iglesias, and back to you guys in the studio.
Hey, just a little reminder that if you want to keep up with updates, fun segments, and more from our crew, you can follow our Instagram for all things Sideline. Follow us at sideline.caplin. That's it for today. I'm Dylan Bizet.
And I'm Sabrina Lozano. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week on The Sideline.